Charles Oliveira begins his fight by throwing a body kick towards Michael Chandler, and this is just with a view to establishing distance between them and taking Michael Chandler out of striking range where he's not able to fire. Oliveira then feints with a knee just to create a bit of distance, and Chandler bites slightly and then he goes downstairs and cracks him with a leg kick. However, Michael Chandler was looking to just replant his feet, and as he took his feet off the ground then, that's where Charles Oliveira connected with the calf kick, and that's what dropped him and lost him his mobility. Michael Chandler then follows up with a right hand to the body, but as he does, Oliveira feints the knee towards him once again just to give Michael Chandler something to think about and make him less committed to the right hand, and he continues to feint that knee towards Michael Chandler. Now I want you to have a look at Michael Chandler's feet here. You can see that he pushes off that rear leg, but he hops into range. The right hand just touches the body of Oliveira, and once again then we see Charles Oliveira just feinting with that knee towards Chandler to get him onto the back foot, but this time Oliveira commits to it and pushes Chandler onto the back foot momentarily. Now we see Michael Chandler throw a triple jab here, but he's doing this to get into range. He throws that triple jab just to close the distance between him and Oliveira. Oliveira's on the back foot and he establishes distance once more. Chandler throws the right hand and misses, but as he does, Charles Oliveira keeps his hand on that left shoulder just so he can gauge the distance between him and Chandler for any follow-up shots. Chandler then plants his left foot into range, that lead foot, and he follows it up then with combinations upstairs, but as he does, you can see Charles Oliveira on the back foot turn sideways, but he's not moving his head at all to the pressure. He's just turning sideways and moving away from the shots, and so he then gets caught with a left hook, and this stuns Oliveira momentarily, so he then shoots in for a double leg takedown, but he walks straight into a guillotine, and Michael Chandler then really looks to crank in that guillotine, but Charles Oliveira is able to break out of the hold just a few moments later. Just a few seconds later then, Charles Oliveira actually takes advantage of the situation as Michael Chandler gives up his back. There's a role reversal just seconds later, and you can see then Charles Oliveira manages to bring his hands together just to put that pressure on Chandler. Climbing to his feet then, Michael Chandler carries the body weight of Charles Oliveira and he attempts to slam himself backwards, but this actually then leads to slamming himself into a deeper body triangle, and then the elbows follow from Charles Oliveira in this position. Chandler then reverses the attack, and momentarily then he relinquishes the pressure and he climbs to his feet. Oliveira remains on his back, inviting Chandler to engage downstairs. The two then climb to their feet, and Charles Oliveira once again feinting that knee towards Michael Chandler when he comes in for exchanges, making him pressured onto the back foot then to get out of the pocket. But equally, Charles Oliveira then misses with that right hand as Chandler's quick enough to get out of the pocket. Michael Chandler continues to hop into range and he misses with that right hand as Oliveira deflects, but then he follows up with a left hook and he jumps into the shot while throwing it. It's very deceptive because of the way he's able to then explode into range very quickly. Oliveira's rocked and onto the back foot, so Michael Chandler then uses his lead hand just to post momentarily and measure the distance before firing that right hand, and it drops Charles Oliveira and he's really hurt here, and Chandler's going for the finish. Oliveira's really badly hurt here and Michael Chandler smells blood, so he then comes forward with a barrage of shots. Oliveira re-maneuvers positions in between, but then maneuvering into guard, he's in a less compromised position than he otherwise would be. And what then follows then is Chandler re-engages, but then intelligently Charles Oliveira looks to hook his feet underneath that shin and hooks both sides to restrict the leverage then Michael Chandler has to explode forward. Chandler looks to break free and then re-engage, but Charles Oliveira is able to survive the round, and that concludes the first one. Round 2 begins, and Charles Oliveira then begins the second round just feinting towards Michael Chandler, and he's feinting by raising that knee just to create distance between the two so Chandler isn't in striking range. And as he does so, you can see Michael Chandler taking small back steps until he then plants that lead foot into range and throws that left hand at Oliveira. Immediately after then, in the next exchange, Chandler throws a jab which Oliveira bites on slightly, but then he dips his head underneath that right hand which follows. He's changing in levels to give Charles Oliveira different angles to work with as well. But as he leaves the exchange then, he gets countered with a left hook. And this is the first Michael Chandler knockdown of the fight. It drops him and you can see him there backing up to the cage, and Charles Oliveira then comes forward with a flurry of shots and knees. Oliveira then extends his lead hand just to measure the distance and follows up then with a right cross, and it lands flush on Michael Chandler, and he follows up with a left hook which misses, but then the straight right cross comes again and Chandler's backpedaling, so Charles Oliveira then loops in that wide left hook and it drops Michael Chandler once again, and this is the beginning of the end of the fight here. He then really comes in with a series of shots, and eventually then the referee has to intervene and Charles Oliveira becomes a successor to Khabib Nurmagomedov and the new UFC lightweight champion. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions that you'd like me to answer for you in future videos or the extended breakdowns, just tweet them over to me. That's at ElusiveYouTube on Twitter.